It's a sport that witnesses loud cheers when played on Canadian soil, but now Kabaddi is facing numerous allegations.
Kabaddi is becoming a tool for human smuggling.
This community journalist alleges Kabaddi has become a part of an immigration scandal where some federations here and in Punjab, India are allegedly using its name to bring people to Canada.
Some people are organizing there the fake tournaments. They have the fake players in there. They made the fake man of the match there. Then they pay to get their news published, and then they put that news story with their sponsorship application so they can get the visa.
Last year, around 700 Kabaddi players came to Canada, but according to Gariwal, around 100 players haven't returned home.
But I don't have the final number in terms of how many may not have reported back. My understanding is most have reported back, but there may be some that may not have reported back.
If it's true, 140 is escape, it's shameful.
Rana Sidhu is a member of one Kabaddi federation in Ontario.
People know that it is very easy to bring the Kabaddi player in. So there are many organizations pop up. The major concern is Alberta, especially Edmonton.
But Inderjeet Mullapur, a Kabaddi Cup organizer from Edmonton, denies that. He says all the players of our team have gone back and no Kabaddi club wants their players to escape as it affects their record. Some federations told us that they received a letter from the Immigration Ministry to form one governing body for Kabaddi federations in Canada.
I have heard about the letter. I mean, letter is basically encouraging all federations and clubs to come all under one umbrella. So it's a lot easier, not only just for the community, but it's a lot easier also for the immigration department and others to manage the players that come in.
There are currently 7 Kabaddi federations in Canada, 3 in Ontario, 2 each in BC and Alberta. And we were told there may be 2 new federations coming up this year, one in Alberta, another one in Ontario, as March and April are the months when these federations send the list out of players to CIC and Indian Embassy, as summer is the Kabaddi season and which is fast approaching. Just last year, the Immigration Ministry allowed Kabaddi to be a part of a special event department, thus making it easier for federations to organize such tournaments. And now some Kabaddi organizers worry that these allegations will put Kabaddi in a bad light, a sport that many seek pride in. Kiranpreet Cheema, OMNI News, Toronto. The power-based sport of Kabaddi is facing some powerful allegations, such as how the sport is being used as a ticket to Canada, where some people who are not Kabaddi players come on this visa, and how some so-called Kabaddi players never leave Canada once their visa expires. Last year, around 700 Kabaddi players came to Canada on this visa, which is valid for just 6 months. And this community journalist had told us that the number of missing players from last year could be as high as 140.
These may be players or other Kabaddi officials who have returned to India but just haven't gone to Chandigarh and actually checked in with them.
So the number of missing players includes those who have returned home but did not report at the Canadian Embassy and those who have actually gone missing and are somewhere in Canada. And to find that out, some Ontario Kabaddi federations exchanged several emails with the Canadian Embassy in India's Chandigarh. This week, they got the clear number.
In my federation, Ontario Federation of Sports and Culture Organization, only one player left. They belong to Young Sports Club.
So do you know where that player is?
You know, they player ran away. Somebody tell they live in Brampton. Some guys say they live in Mississauga. And I already complained for the immigration, and I already complained to the police too.
Now we are clear, only the 2 players are missing. They already claim as a refugee here in Canada.
So where is this big number of missing players coming from?
In Alberta, there's 2 federations. One federation, I think there are 5 players are missing, and the other federation, I don't know those people. Biggest scam is there.
When interviewed a month ago, Inderjeet Singh Mullapura Kabaddi Club owner from Edmonton had told us that none of his players are missing. He says a few people are giving Kabaddi a bad name.
Now, I'm not denying the fact that there may be players or Kabaddi officials who did not return, and obviously, you know, we hear stories about this constantly, and frankly, that is why we need to have stronger and more stringent rules around Kabaddi.
And we were told that in coming few days, Minister of Sports Bal Gosal will be holding a private meeting with these Kabaddi federations that may lead to some big changes around the sport. Kiranpreet Cheema, OMNI News, Brampton. Well, Angie, it has been on their radar for quite some time. But today in a teleconference, Immigration Minister Jason Kenney confirmed that from over 600 Kabaddi players who came to Canada last year, around 100 players did not go back to their home countries, mainly India and Pakistan. And of them, 27 already claimed for refugee status, with most claims coming out of Montreal.
I quite frankly find it ridiculous that people coming from a democratic country like India to play sports in Canada would suddenly claim that they are victims of persecution.
Kenny today reconfirmed that Kabaddi is no longer part of the special event department that had made visa allocations easier last year. This after officials found out the number of Kabaddi players who did not go back is huge from last year when compared to previous few years. And it doesn't stop there.
In particular, he identified complaints about trafficking in narcotics, assault, about harassment of women, and general hooligan-like behavior.
These complaints, Kenny says, came from police departments of Calgary, Peel Region and Surrey.
Sometimes there are rumors.
There are currently 7 Kabaddi federations in Canada, 3 in Ontario, 2 each in BC and Alberta. Kenny today stressed the fact that all Kabaddi federations should form one governing body across Canada.
Actually, we are working on that, and we are very close to form that body. And because, you know, sometimes it is really hard for us to find, you know, the clean people.
But for now, 2 Ontario federations told us that they will be collaborating this Kabaddi season to send the message that the importance and spirit of the sport of Kabaddi is above the negative image it has received.
The onus is going to be on people involved in the sport in Canada to persuade me that they've got their act together.
Government should reveal the names of the people who are involved with these things. They have to should take the action against them.
Well, for that action, Kenny says he needs evidence. For the same, he's inviting community members to report to the Canada Border Services Agency or the CBSA that if they have any hard evidence against individuals or organizations that might be involved in immigration fraud or issuing bogus invitation letters, a CBSA is responsible for enforcing the Immigration Act. Kiranpreet Cheema, OMNI News, Toronto. Surjan Singh Chattha flew in from India with a mission.
Kabaddi has been my life for the last 43 years, right? And thousands of players have gone through my hands, but this has not happened before.
Chattha is president of the North India Kabaddi Federation. He's here because one of the players that he sent last year went missing.
This is the first player who's done this to me. Nobody else ever done it. There are 200 boys here in Canada, which I sent abroad. There are 200 in London sitting, working with their families, no problems.
And the Baba Khan Das Kabaddi Club owners who had sponsored that player claim they ran into him yesterday.
The guy who just ran away from our club, we saw over there. Then everybody say, okay, please go come inside. We can talk each other inside. And when we want to get in, he's outside. The guy come and push him to try to run away,
which they say resulted in a scuffle and that police were called but by the Kabaddi player. However, the Peel Regional Police did not confirm any of this. Jatinder Singh says the player stayed at his house, but just before the date of expiry of his visa, he ran away, leaving all his belongings, including passport, at Singh's home. After September, he says it was yesterday that he saw that Kabaddi player in front of a truck driving school. And we did speak to his driving instructor. He didn't want to be identified but confirmed that this Kabaddi player was his student and that now he's a licensed AZ driver.
This time I came for this only, to see if we can persuade this boy to go back. I have not met him yet.
According to the numbers released by the Immigration Minister Jason Kenney just last month, from around 700 Kabaddi players who came to Canada last year, around 100 never reported back. Of them, 27 have already applied for refugee status. So the larger issue, Chattha says, is not only of this one player, but the way the sport of Kabaddi is being managed or mismanaged for that matter.
Even the federation, there are too many federations in this country. I'm trying to bring them together so that we have one body, one president, one secretary, one person who's answerable.
Just last month, Immigration Minister Jason Kenney had also announced that Kabaddi is no longer part of the special events category. Chattha says he feels that some bad elements misused Canada's special provisions to the sport. And now, tomorrow, he's heading to Ottawa to meet MP Timopal.
And I hope the ministers here, Mr. Jason Kenney will now wake up to this issue and we have to have a system.
Kiranpreet Cheema, OMNI News, Brampton. Kabaddi season is here. In fact, some of the clubs already have decided dates for their tournaments. But who will play those tournaments is a question on their mind. As they say, the visa applications for the players have been refused by Citizenship and Immigration Canada.
ਇਸ ਵਾਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 40 ਦੇ ਕਰੀਬ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀਜ਼ੇ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕੀਤੇ ਸੀ ਪਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 3 ਤੋਂ 4 ਕਲੱਬਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰਿਜ਼ਲਟ ਆਇਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਸਾਰੇ ਵੀਜ਼ੇ ਰਿਫਿਊਜ਼ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਨੇ।
Last year, over 600 Kabaddi players came to Canada. According to CIC, around 100 players did not report back to their home countries and 27 filed for refugee status. After months of speculations and a long wait, Kabaddi federations finally heard from the Immigration Ministry about approval of their visa applications.
Now we are on track again.
Kabaddi federations across Canada are getting ready to welcome this year's batch of Kabaddi players from India, as around 50 visas have been approved. 8 for Ontario, rest for BC and Alberta.
At least we are getting something. This is a tradition, from last decade, player comes and goes.
And this tradition received a boost last year when Canada allowed around 700 Kabaddi players from India and Pakistan. What followed were allegations of human smuggling. In March this year, Immigration Minister Jason Kenney confirmed that 91 players did not go back. Of them, 27 applied for refugee status. A reason MP Timopal says the number is not even quarter of what it was last year.
Last year we had some serious issues of possibly human smuggling, serious issues of definitely people overstaying their visa requirements, and so because of that we've had to shut down the special Kabaddi visa program.
There should be an inquiry if somebody abuse it or misuse it.
Files have been given over to the RCMP. Any further action is up to the RCMP.
Kabaddi tournaments for this season have already started. All the players until now were local. Upal says the Indian players that have been approved are big names.
So far we have about 50 to 60 Kabaddi players coming. These are superstar players.
Sidhu says the number might be small as compared to last year, but they already have a plan in place to work with that.
So they're going to stay here for 3 tournaments, and then they're going to go to Vancouver. They're going to stay there for 4 weeks, then they're going to come back here.
For now, Brampton's this Kabaddi ground is all set to witness the action of those high-profile players this weekend.
This Sunday, going to be excited, very excited.
Kiranpreet Cheema, OMNI News, Brampton.